Hello guys, welcome back to this series where we do a quiz sort of thing in Python using a database. In this video, we're going to actually be connecting the database using Python. Now, for this video, I'm going to be using Visual Studio, the best idea of course, and instead of the Python idle, because I just find it, the Python idle compared to Visual Studio, it's obviously Visual Studio just looks superior, and it's obviously superior. Anyway, and they're both free, so use Visual Studio all the time. You can download Visual Studio by just googling Visual Studio, and and if you want to run Python on it, you have to make sure you already have Python installed, and just add that as a module in this as a thing that you want to install in addition, a component in the Visual Studio setup manager. If you like to use Visual Studio to create a Python project, just go on File, New, Project, and then simply select on Python and select on Python application. There are different types of Python applications as well that we may do future videos on, but in this case you just want a simple Python application. Now, when I set up the Python application, when I came to Python environment, it was saying that it was running Python 3.6 environment. If that's your case as well, maybe you have two different versions, maybe you have 2.7 and 3.4, 3.5. Just come over here, right click on Python environments, click on add/remove Python environments, and select the one you want to use. Mine was selected on Python 3.6, I just uncheck that and select Python 3.4, and now we're on Python 3.4. The reason why is simply because the MySQL connector, the module that we're going to be using, does not work with Python 3.6. The developers have been lazy and not updated their module to 3.6. They're only getting around to actually updating it to 3.5. So still quite a few months ahead left on that. So to be able to connect Python to the SQL database, first we need to actually import that module into our Python application, and we just simply do that by typing in import, and we're going to say mysql.connector. Now that just simply imports the module, so if you just do Control F5, no errors. Great. If, for example, you didn't spell it correctly, you should get a message like this, no module named, but since we didn't get that error, it's because that module does exist. Now, for the next task, I need to get my workbench up and running, and I should also get my gear host also up and running, because we're going to need some information about this database. So the first thing we want to do actually is just establish a connection to our database. So we do this by typing in connection, or it can be any variable name. It doesn't need to be connection. You can call it Bob if you want. Connection, and we'll do mysql.connector. And we say here .connect. That's simple, right? And in the parentheses, you're going to type in user equals, not user warning, user. The entire sentence is being stupid. The entire sentence works better for languages such as C#, or Visual Basic languages which Microsoft have created. And the username is Python quiz. Remember, if you want any other usernames using GearHost, you will need to pay the $5 a month. They do tell you that this is less than 1 cent. This is less than 1 cent an hour. It's less than 1 cent. As you can see, it's 0.007 cents. So, if that tempts you. And the username, yeah, it's Python quiz, right? Yeah. Get distracted. Python quiz, comma, and password is. Let me just view that. Okay, whatever. I don't think that applies to this. I don't know why. Some activity, I don't know. Ignore that error message. Nothing can go possibly wrong with that error message. Yeah. Hopefully not. Host equals that, and the database is also what we need to input. And the database will be this one. Where is it? Python quiz. That's the database name, or what the workbench calls the schema. And we also need to actually close the connection because we don't want to keep the connection live. Because if okay, ignore. What's going on in my database? The tables better be fine. Yes, okay. I don't know what the hell's going on with today. So yeah, we need to close the connection because you can't have. Imagine if you don't close it and then you're running this application on many computers. You can have so many connections just live, not closing them. I know if you're implementing on this web server, you might actually limit the amount of people which can actually access your database. So if you're not closing off these connections, you will reach that limit. And no errors. Also, GearHost might have a limit on how many connections you can make at once. So also make sure you close, especially if you're using free hosting, make sure you close off those connections. So that's just simply us connecting to the database. It's nothing special. It's very simple to do in Python. As you can see, the connection only really takes up one line of code, but we also want to close it, so we're going to take another one, and we just need to import the module. So that's just 3 lines of code in total. That's just 3 lines of code. Of course, what we could actually add in more configurations and stuff to this, but we won't need to be doing that for this series. But what we should actually be now moving on to is the next logical step is actually viewing this data. Let's try and view some of this data and let's see if we can get anything. So the way to view this is you have to implement something called a cursor. So we just call it cursor.connection.cursor. And that is something, that's something like, for example, if you're on the command line, you've got this blinking underscore, that's your cursor. And that's just used because when you want to input the query, you want the cursor over here, you input the query over here. That's really it. It's something cursors to do with DOS days. C++ though uses cursors. Yeah, you just need a cursor. You don't need to go to the theoretical side of one, but you just need a cursor. So, get a cursor. We can do actually an actual query out of here, which is actually just use some SQL code, a MySQL code. If you'd like actually a video on SQL, on how to do SQL, just comment that down below, and I might actually do that if the people desire it. If you don't want it. So we're just going to say select star from, and we just want to select star from questions. Question, not questions. Question, it's singular, isn't it? It's question without the capital Q, so it's question, lowercase. So we want to make sure that it's exactly right. And then what we just do here is cursor.execute, and it just executes our command, and we're going to execute execute query. We want to actually execute the query. Control F5, no errors. Okay, fantastic. But we actually want to see those results. So we're going to save here. Let's do for question in cursor. And while we're saying cursor, we don't actually need brackets over here, but I'm putting brackets because in case you want to get question and let's actually also get the correct. Let's get also the correct option as well, in case you want to get multiple stuff, although you probably still don't need brackets. Cursor, because what's going to happen is going to query it, it's going to execute it, then on the next line where the cursor is now at, it will then have is the result. So let's say we do over here, just load up Python over here quickly. So here's my cursor, right? I'm saying that x equals 5, then I'm saying, print me 5. Okay, that's a query or a command or whatever you want to call it. The cursor has now gone down to over here. Imagine the cursor, I know in Python it goes down over there. Imagine the cursor goes over here. This is where the result will be, essentially. And then we just, then just print me out, just print me out the question plus some space, and then, and plus the correct option. Right? Just do that for me, please. And, we should actually also, before I forget, we should actually close also the cursor as well. just good practice just to close everything. Got to do that. And we've got an error. Too many values to unpack. Expected 2. So what's going on over here? So what if we were to drop this? Does that work? Okay, that worked. Because that selected everything. Okay, so that did everything. Okay. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so because we said select star, that selected everything and just ignored the column name. So when you try to, so saying for question, this could be anything for X. Okay. However, let's say you wanted to only get the question, comma, the correct option. See what happened now. Oh yeah, I need to close this. On Visual Studio, actually need to close that window. Okay, see what happens over here? We only get over here is the question and the correct option. Yeah? And yeah, so let's say we just want the question now. There we go. Just the question. And this is the stuff we're actually going to be using throughout throughout this series on actually creating this revision quiz. So with that now, what the hell's going on now? Oh, don't debug it. Okay. So with us having a solid database now working, and with us now having actually been able to connect with the database, the next task will actually be creating our revision quiz. And we'll be looking at that actually in the next episode. We're actually going to be looking at is creating potentially two programs. One for we could have these all in one program, but two programs, one for the question editor and one for the actual revision quiz. Or we could have it all in one application, just have a login screen and check it, or if you're a student, do this. Then if you're a teacher, you have this option available. We could do both of those ways. I believe that it's best to do the one application and just have the login system. Of course, the login system will be using the database. There'll be no encryption on the database, which is a bad idea if you're putting this into public hands. Of course, it's not being sold or anything, so it's fine. But we could also do a small amount of encryption. You don't need to, but we could do some small amount of encryption, something like a Caesar cipher or something else. If anyone found that interesting, comment that down below. But yeah, so this is it for this video. In the next video, we're going to be looking at actually starting up the application for our revision quiz. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and hope to see you guys very soon. Goodbye.